So machine learning is a big topic nowadays. Now, this course is not focused on machine learning, of course, but there's a lot of materials out there if you're interested in learning about machine learning. The whole concept of machine learning is to allow machines, allow devices to be able to detect real world things. Meaning, you and I, being humans, we have developed these senses that make us navigate the world the way we do. So you know what a chair is, you know what clouds are, you know what other people are, because when we look at them, our brain has been trained since we were born to recognize objects, to recognize things around us. Okay, so that is the same concept when we talk about machine learning, is that we're trying to make devices, machine, to recognize things the way we do as humans. Now, that may seem very easy to do because we think, you and I as humans, it's just something more or less innate to us. But with machines, it's a little bit different. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in order for a machine, in order for a device to be able to detect something and say, okay, that is indeed a car, or that is indeed a person, or that is a rat, and so forth. So what we're going to be using to build our face detection app is what we call ML-Kit. Well, ML-Kit stands for Machine Learning Kit. So this is an API created by Google developers that allow us to tap into it so that we don't have to do all of the groundwork to let our devices recognize real world, such as faces, landmarks, and so forth. So if you go to firebasegoogle.com, in fact, let me go back so we can see exactly. So this is the main link, firebase.google.com. Make this a little bit bigger. There we go. If you come here, notice there's products and so many other links that you can go into. But if you scroll down here, you'll see that we have a comprehensive mobile development platform that is our Firebase. Within Firebase realm, we have Cloud Firestore, as you know by now. We have Crashlytics, in-app messaging, and so many. But what we're interested in at this point is the ML-Kit. So the machine learning for mobile developers. Also notice at the time of recording of this video, of this section, this was on beta, meaning it's not ready for massive use. Although you can still use it, but there will be changes that may be coming until we have the first release. So keep that in mind. Things that we may do today, they may not quite work tomorrow once they've released. They may or may not. Okay? So that's what beta means. Very good. So in this case here, we're going to click on ML-Kit. And voila. So you can take your time and perhaps watch this video, which introduces what this does, this ML-Kit, the things that it does, what it provides for us as developers. Okay, so go ahead and watch this video on your own time. If you scroll down, you can see now you can detect a lot of things. You can detect faces, as you know. You can detect signs. You can detect landmark places. You can even use our ML-Kit here to detect whether it's cloudy, whether there are hills or birds, and so forth. So it's really amazing. And also notice here we have this QR code there. You can scan barcodes, labels, images, and so forth. So there's a lot that you can do here. And I will emphasize again that whatever we do at this point to get this to work on our application may seem hard, but in the grand scheme of things is actually really easy because we don't have to do the heavy lifting, the heavy coding that had to go in order for us to be able to leverage this ML-Kit. Okay? Very good. So what we're interested in now is the actual getting started. So I'm going to go here, say View Documents. As a developer, documentation is very crucial. So at this point here, you should get into the habit of reading documentations. I know sometimes it's very hard for most of us to sit down and read documentation because, they can be a little bit dull and boring at times. But I really encourage you to get into the habit of reading documentation because that's where all the instructions how to set up or how to work with API, that's where all the instructions live. So if you get into the habit of actually reading and trying things out, you're going to be better off and obviously with less headaches. Trust me on that one. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead here and look around and see what can we do. It tells us all the features that we have. There's on device and on cloud. So on device, meaning that some of these features here are already on device, assuming that you have Google Store installed on your device, right? Very good. So we see here we have barcode scanning, face detection. This is where we want. This is exactly what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and click face detection here. And it tells us right away, it takes us here where it gives us examples and all the things. Now, the first thing I want to do here, we're not doing iOS, we're doing Android. I'm going to click on Android. It tells us exactly, again, directions before you begin, which is around here. Okay, tells us exactly what to do. So we need to add a Firebase to our project. As you can see here, remember all of this is inside of our Firebase framework or platform, that is. And so we have to add those dependencies. Notice here, because in this case here, we just want a vision or face. This is what we are actually adding as a dependency. If we were trying to get the barcode and so many others, of course, you will see that we have to add those dependencies as well. So while we're here, why not just go ahead and fire up our Android Studio and start putting together our project. So I'm going to go Android Studio, File, New. I'm going to use basic activity there. Okay, not empty. This time I'm going to say basics. Next, I'm going to call this Smile Detector. Okay, very good. Everything is good. I'm going to say finish. And once we finish, of course, we should have our awesome project here. All right, very good. So let's go back and look at our documentation here. So to start setting things up. So we're going to go and copy all of this. And it says here we need to add that app level in our app Gradle. So let's go back to our project. Open app level, module app, this one, double click. And I'm going to just put it at the bottom here. It has to be inside of dependencies. There we go. Let's sync. Okay, let's go back, follow the instructions so we don't end up with issues. This is optional but recommended. So this is where we say configure your app to automatically download the ML, so machine learning models, to achieve to the device after your app is installed from the Play. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get it and add it so we have it. Okay. So this has to be where? Inside of our Android Manifest XML. Okay, let's go ahead and go to our Android Manifest. Has to be inside of app. So somewhere before we close our app tag, I'm gonna just put it there. Okay, I'm gonna save. Now, the other thing you notice that whenever you open your manifest file, there's all these squiggly lines here. So if you just click and say, we're gonna go ahead and suppress it because we don't need that drama at this point. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close. Let's go back and see what else is required of us. Of course, I forgot to do the first step. I went on the second step because that's the easiest one. But the first step, which is the most important one of the most important ones, of course, all of them are important, is we have to add Firebase to our Android Studio. So we should be able to do that by ourselves now. So I'm going to come to Android Studio. Okay, I'm going to go to Tools and Firebase. Very good. I can pick any of this. So I'm just going to click here and I'm going to connect to Firebase. So click there. Starting the connection here. Voila. Remember, you should be logged in as you, right, for this to work. Otherwise, it won't work. So you need to be signed in with your Gmail account. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and say connect Firebase. It's going to go ahead and create a new Firebase project for me. While that does all of that, let's go back to our instructions here. For Firebase to actually work, I'm going to open this on a new link. These are steps that I hope it gets ingrained in your head. We need to come down here. There's one thing that we also need to add. It's easy to forget. Let's make sure that inside of our dependencies, we also have the Google services for that too. So let's go to our build Gradle. This is going to be project level. Let's go down here. This looks to be good. I'm going to get out of here. Let's go to our build Gradle. That one. We do have build Gradle, and I'm gonna copy this to add our plugin there. So I'm gonna just paste it all in there. And also notice our Gradle here is 3.3.1 at this moment. Whenever we have a squiggly line, just click on it and change to 3.2. Okay, I'll go ahead and sync this. Very good. Let's continue here to make sure we got everything right. And also in our module, the app level, we need to add this one here, which is to apply the plugin Google Services. It's very important because Firebase needs that. Okay, so let's go back to our app that I have open already here. And just right at the bottom here, actually, it's going to be outside our dependencies, right? And I'm going to go ahead and sync it again. Okay, so if you don't do this, what happens is once you start putting together the Firebase everything, you're going to have an error that says you must initialize Firebase.init. Okay, so whenever you get that error, that should tell you that this is the reason why that's not working. So don't forget to follow exactly to the T what I'm showing you here if you don't want to run into issues. Very good. Let's go ahead and finalize and make sure everything is okay. We should already have that dependency. All right, so looks like everything is good. And they even tell you here, caution, when using Firebase Assistant, carefully follow the steps described in this section to guide to check that all your dependencies and settings are configured correctly. Yes, indeed. Even they tell us because they know that it's easy to make mistakes and then things don't work. All right, so this was just Firebase installation. I'm going to get out of here. We're back to our ML kit here. Okay, so it looks like we have everything. And there are settings. We will see that later. There's Firebase Vision face detector options that we're going to be adding. That's what we're going to be seeing later. But you can see here, you can set things up before the application starts detecting the images and all sort of things. Okay, we'll see all of that. And the cool thing is they even have a few examples on how things work. Okay, so don't worry, we are going to go through all of that together so you can actually see what's going on. All right. Let's go back to our project here to make sure it looks like everything built successfully and we should be good. So in the next video, we're going to put together some other libraries that are going to be using in this project. All right, perfect. I'll see you next.